Hi, I'm Pedro Tanaka. I'm a clinical associate professor at Stanford, and we're here today to talk about our Teaching Scholar program, which is actually our faculty development program, which was created back in 2007, at the same time when the university implemented the clinical educator line. So actually the main purpose for us is to actually develop those faculty on pedagogy and also implemented a better teaching techniques to our residents. There's what I'm going to be talking today with you. We're going to go through the goals, objectives in terms of curriculum development and the lessons that we learned from the last 6 years since we implemented this program. And I hope we enjoy it. So those quotes just remind us how to be a good teacher. Just by the fact we're good doctors doesn't imply we're good teachers. Even we can think about it, but it's not necessarily true. So I think we have some room for improvement. When you think about faculty development, actually, we have to match in terms of what your department needs, because every single department works different. So one of the sources that you can use in terms of find out or identify your needs is actually those GME surveys. We found like last year's that our residents were not happy in terms of feedback. They would say, well, we got a good teaching, but sometimes there is no feedback at all. So that creates a possibility or a need in terms to develop that project, and then that was one of the suggestions that somebody or some faculty would take that. So there is a whole bunch of lists of those projects that you can see over here. This is like a program which is open to Stanford faculty, which has 50% of greater full-time equivalent appointment. It's offered 12 months, used to be in alternating years until 2011. Now it's every year. So faculty members are self-nominated and admitted in a competitive basis. Admissions are, practically based in 3 criteria, as you can see over here. Attend, careers and goals. They need to have positive resident evaluations. You have to submit a proposal with a project included to improve the house staff education. Some activities in terms of your curriculum, as you can see, our department level fund at least up to $2,000 for the scholars to participate in a meeting, and used to be 3 non-clinical days. What we found from feedback from the last 2 or 3 cohorts, that time is not enough, and then we all agree that's not enough. So those commitments now, it's up to 12 days non-clinical time, which is great. It's not going to cover everything, but in terms of the department, it's a huge gain. So they have once a month a seminar. They're going to be working on those educational projects, and every single month, every scholar receives at least 2 or 3 articles regarding to one subject. Last month, for example, we submitted to them a few reviews and editorials in terms of the service education imbalance that you might have heard about it, and probably happens in every single program. Just to give you an idea, what do we have in terms of monthly seminars? As you can see, there are a few of them which are incorporated in terms of curriculum development, needs assessment, objectives, writing objectives, assessment methods and implementations. But I also would like to focus in other areas like leadership, which we believe as a department is important in terms of developing those faculty. And for this year, we'll have been focusing a little more in terms of medical education research, trying to provide better tools or at least the basics in terms of educating our faculty. We divided our scholars, our teaching scholars projects in different categories. As you can see, administration or leadership. One of the projects is listed here is the Global Health website. And the way that was developed nowadays is that turned not only to be a rotation, but I also was, evolved to nowadays we have a global health fellowship in anesthesia, which is something very innovative. Other projects in terms of advice mentoring, cognitive aids for critical care perioperative events in the OR. This turns to be something which is implemented these years with this, colorful reminders about how would you proceed in different critical situations. But the majority of the projects, as you can see, are regarded to curriculum and teaching and assessment. There's a whole bunch of those, which is interesting in terms of the lessons that we learned. And actually what we did the structural interviews with our scholars using a preset questionnaire. We collect all the information listed here. Includes demographics, educational meetings, grants, presentations, additional advanced study and education. We have 2 scholars who are actually doing master's in education. One finished global health master's, other one in public health. So those were some of the findings. We have so far in the last 3 cohorts 19 scholars. Most of them are in the position as instructor or assistant professor, which is very early in their career, which is interesting because you can have some impact in terms of what they're going to be doing in the future. 47% of those scholars were female, which is kind of well balanced in terms of gender. Those projects, as I mentioned, 10 of them, the majority was regarded to curriculum development, which is interesting, and we found this is important for us as a department, that the majority of those projects became part of the permanent residency curriculum. While we were pleased with the impact for the program that we have been working so far, our goal now is to increase the completion rate, which was 65%, and also get some of those projects to be published. So these are the main focus for 2013. We have a review committee. Actually, we review every single application. There is a lot of representation, not only from our department level, but also from our graduate, for GME, Graduate Medical Education Office. We have exceptional PhDs and education who help us to develop, to work in a much stronger project. Which actually was very nice this year, because we had a lot of discussion and a lot of interaction with people who had actually the expertise, which is very important. In closing up this, briefly presentation of our teaching scholar program, we believe that just the program renew our sense of passion and interest in being not only the best physician, but also the best teacher we can be. We'd love to hear more about our program. Please just contact me. We have your email down here in the bottom. But also to share experiences, please, you're welcome. And thank you so much for your attention.